All right, so motorcycle update. I know that a lot of people are waiting for an update on the Healy 4, and I've been promising one. It's going to be posted tomorrow so that I can explain everywhere that I am with it. I got a lot of people that are kind of following along with this build as well, and I really get less time to work on this than I do all my other stuff. So I get 5 minutes at a time. I can come out here and clean, or I can work out on my bike. Anyway, so for anyone stumbling across this, this is an update on a 2002 Honda Shadow 750 that we are turning into, well, a lot of what you can see here. Since the last video, I have swapped the R1 forks. Now, my original plan was to run R1 wheels and forks that I just have strewn willy-nilly. And I didn't really know what I was going to do with a swing arm. I had considered trying to make, I've got an FZ09 suspension set here. I was considering swapping to that. I couldn't make the suspension for the swing arm work. Like the swing arm fit the frame, looked neat, but I didn't have a neat way to do the suspension. But I came across a wrecked CVR 600RR, so I thought, why not? I really hate three-spoke wheels. I don't know why. I don't know why they bug me as much as they do, but man, they bug me. Now, what I have mounted now is the CVR 600 suspension on both ends. And I was able to rig up even the factory 600 suspension. Let's get down here. It's all just kind of tacked together at present. And I'm going to have to add some bracing. We can just get a better view from over here. I'm going to have to add some webbing going from here to either that crossbar or to the frame. I've got to be careful because I still need to have enough room to get my oil filter out. And right there, I have just enough. I've also got to make some spacers to fill in the gap for the, between the swing arm and the motor. I'm going to be able to use my stock pivot bolt. I had to make bushings to go in the swing arm. To center it, it's like a 14 millimeter swing arm or 15 millimeter pivot and a 12 millimeter pivot on the Shadow. But whenever I'm done, I'm going to be able to use the stock CVR 600 rear wheel suspension swing arm. And the only major thing that I'm going to have to do is I am going to either have to find an offset front sprocket to move my sprocket that way about 10 millimeters, actually a pretty good jump. Or I'm going to have to move the rear sprocket inboard, and I'm not certain I've got enough room to do that. I really liked the Yamaha setup that I was running because I could get those lined up. But suspension was harder. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I really don't think that offset in the front sprocket will be impossible to do. Anyway, so outside of that, that's going to be our suspension. And I have also swapped out from the clip-ons to bars. Now, mounting these, they're not perfectly straight. I just drilled holes in the top triple. The stock Honda triple is just like this wave to it. Makes it really hard to get perfectly lined up to where you can, get everything nice and flat. I hate it. I am looking for, I'm looking to see if maybe a later model triple will fit that's nice and flat, or I'm going to have to just take that and have my shop weld a flat plate across the top so that I have a flatter place to mount my bars. Now, inside, one of the things that I have done that I didn't do with my other one, and I know that I talked about this on my last update, is I reduced the rake. And my goal was 30 degrees, give or take a couple of degrees. I'm going to have to wait until I get both ends completely lined out to know exactly where it is, but it's roughly 30 degrees now. How I did that was I cut the frame here, and I cut the backbone completely off. So gave it a little slice and lifted it up. One of the other problems that I had with the previous Shadow is that no fuel tanks fit that frame. I had to run a Benelli Mojave knockoff tank, which had a really, really wide channel to fit over that backbone. So what I have done, and also the backbone with my original suspension ideas, the backbone didn't work. It actually would work now, but well, let's take all the stuff off and we can see what's going on in there. We'll talk about the rear subframe as well. Doo-doo-doo. That is an Ascot tank. I've had that tank for years, hoping to find something to do with it. All right, so the backbone that we have now, this is off of an SL350, and it's heavy enough to handle the weight of this bike. I am really, I wanted more arc here. Yeah, I kind of wanted more clearance in between the rear cylinder and the backbone, because that is going to make it easier to get the engine in and out of the frame. I am still looking for another tubular backbone to use. I had really hoped that I could find a wrecked CX500, because the backbone on that bike is made exactly the way I want it to be made. But we may end up, sticking with this one. This crossbar up here, this is where the tank mounts, and all of this is tacked up because I may have to cut, like I said, I may end up cutting it back apart to fit a different backbone. But this is our rough, what we're doing. I'm going to collapse this around. We'll put some slices in it to where we can squeeze the square backbone up onto the round tubing. And then we will also add braces going from here, probably somewhere on the backbone. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to sort that out. I want to see if I can maintain the stock intake on this engine instead of running the pods. The pods on my last bike kind of gave me fits sometimes. We'll see. That's another thing that bridge we'll have to cross down the road. So that's how we set up the backbone. Our rear subframe, again, just tacked together. This will get all, finished welding whenever I get the engine out and we're tacking everything together or sticking everything together. Anyway, so being able to keep all of my suspension down here has freed up all this space. My plan is that I will have a small battery box mounted here, and most of my electronics are going to be like the last bike. I'm going to have a little dip down back here, and we're going to make a little box for the rectifier, CDI, starter solenoid, all that stuff will be mounted under the seat in a little cubby back here. So hopefully by summertime I'll be riding it. And I've posted some pictures about this so far, and one of the comments that I keep getting is, it looks like my CVR stuff was in a fire. And it does look like it was in a fire. I actually got the CVR parts, the whole bike, for a song, because it looked like it had been on fire and nobody else called on the ad. Actually, it had just been spray painted multiple times. Gold. You should have seen the rest of the bike. I'll post a link to how the bike looked whenever I got it in the description. But it was a wreck. Very nasty. And looks like somebody took all the plastics off, painted the whole thing gold, and then left it outside for years. But the suspension is good. And the wheels are good. The bearings are good. So, win for me. Anyway, that's that. Super simple. And like I said, everyone waiting for an update on the Healy. I will have that tomorrow. Thank y'all for watching and have a wonderful evening.